Yeah.
The other big news, though, is that EA Sports will be releasing NHL 21 tomorrow, the newest chapter in the franchise, the newest release in the franchise, whatever you want to call it. But the big news, Carrlyn, is that you are the first female broadcaster involved in the franchise as part of the Be a Pro mode.
Yes, I am. And this is something that is just so exciting for me. And I think, honestly, Jesse, I hope I'm the first of many females' involvement to come in this game as a voice. I hope I'm one of many. And it was such a blast to be able to work on this game. I never in my wildest dreams would think like, yeah, I'll be in a video game one day. Never, ever, ever. And the process was incredible. The recording was so fun. It was a dream come true of a dream that I didn't know that I had until it was kind of laid out in front of me. And I was like, yes, I want to do this. Yes. So it's an absolute honor. And I'm so excited to play the game and kind of scared to hear myself as I play it. But I know you're a huge fan of this game. So I hope you like the way my voice sounds, Jesse, because you're going to hear a little bit of it in this year's season.
Well, you've got your streaming channel on Twitch. What I'm curious is, are we going to get to see you playing NHL 21? And do I get to watch you watch yourself, basically?
Absolutely. Yes. I've got my PlayStation set up here in my office. I'm ready to rip once that game comes out. And yes, I will play and see if I can, hear myself while I'm playing. I'm terrified, but I can't wait to do that.
Before we get into the details of the game a little bit more, how did you get involved? Like, how did you get invited to participate in the making of this game?
Well, we both know Rammer, who's Sean, one of the producers on the game, and my husband and him go way back. My husband is a huge fan of this entire franchise, literally has had every season for I don't even know how long. And the two of them are friends, and Sean was just kind of pitching me as an idea of, hey, Carrlyn could make a great person for this female voice. He knew a little bit about my improv background, and as with most things, you got to get everybody else on board, right? So I had to send kind of a voice sample in hopes of convincing people like, yes, I'm your girl. And sure enough, they landed on a conclusion of, yep, she's our girl. And it was a lot of months in the making, a really long recording session, and hopefully many more recording sessions to come, fingers crossed, if all goes as planned. So it was such a blast and just such an honor to even be thought of, and then for everyone else on the team to give the green light as well.
There are a million little details about that story I could dive into, but there's really just one word that I got hung up on.
Sure.
Who's friends with Rammer?
My husband.
Not your fiance.
My husband, not my fiance.
Yeah, there you go.
I got married last weekend.
Yeah, congrats.
So thank you so much. This is my first debut with that as well. So I'm in a video game and I have a husband, everybody. It's breaking news here times 2 on the channel.
A big week in the Hammer Bath household.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, so let's get into some of the details of this game. Obviously, player ratings are a point of contention across all of the sports platforms, but the LA Kings, Andrei Kopitar has been pretty highly rated, and this year he comes in at a 90, which I think is fair. I mean, Andrei Kopitar doesn't seem to show any signs of slowing down.
How would you say he ranks as compared to Kopitar in other seasons, though? You've been playing this game for so long. Is this on par with what you've seen him fall at compared to other seasons?
Yeah, it seems about the same. Maybe he was like an 89 once. I really want to talk to Rammer and the other developers on the game because I previously had avoided the franchise mode just because it's so daunting, right? Like you can simulate out 25 years of play if you want, and just who has the time? And then you're also playing against the computer, so my inclination is to just tweak all the settings and cheat and just try and win as many trophies as possible. But I never can figure out whether or not players how the game decides to improve their ratings or downgrade their ratings. So no matter what Kopitar starts at, I feel like a few seasons into me simulating the franchise, he's always up 2 or 3 spots. But like I said, 90 seems about right. I saw a rating of all the top 10 centers. I don't think Kopitar made the top 10 according to EA.
Gosh darn it.
I think that feels fair. Like there's a lot of good centers in the game right now, and which is not to say that Kopitar isn't great, but you've got Crosby, McDavid, Matthews, guys like that. 90 feels right to me.
Sure. Okay. Let's go with that. 90. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. And then we have another player as well.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you, or
It
that gets
does.
thumbs up as well?
No, it does surprise me. And this is a much. It surprises me because of a much larger conversation, sort of an ongoing conversation that I've been having in the background with Jim Fox, which is how do you determine who's the best at a position, or what player is the best? Because I don't think that Drew Doughty physically or mentally has lost anything off of his fastball, but I can't deny the fact that maybe the last 2 seasons have been disappointing for the team and for him personally. And then if you look at the reactions to this rating on social media, there are a bunch of people taking swipes at Doughty and saying like, 91, what year is this? Ah, har, 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 har. And then you also have a guy like Austin Wagner in the game who is nowhere near as fast as he ought to be, right? Like,
oh yeah, maybe we talk to Sean about that. Be like, look, have you seen this kid skate?
Right,
have you?
But then that sort of gets into how they tweak the individual skill ratings on the players to come up with an overall rating. So if you crank Austin Wagner up to a 99 on speed, which I think he should be, then his overall rating, pops up to like probably the low 80s, and then you just go like, all right, well, he's not better than da 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 da. But I don't know. Anyway,
you know what I'm hearing from all of this? I'm hearing, I think a future interview on this show should be with Rammer from EA, so we can pick his brain.
I'm all for it.
Hear how all of these inner workings and decisions are made, and I think that would be super awesome to get some insight on that sort of thing, because you're not the only one with these questions. I know a lot of people are always wondering, how did they come up with that? Right. I think he'd be the perfect person to talk to, and he would just lay it all down all for us and be totally candid. So maybe that's something in the future.
I'm looking forward to it. You are the future of the franchise. These ratings are the present of the franchise. But this year, we also get a bit of nostalgia, a blast from the past. The NHL 94 rewind, an old emulator with the current rosters, but the old NHL 94. Now, I think I was probably 15 when this came out, when NHL 94 came out. And I remember being incredibly bummed in the next year when I went to go buy NHL 95 for the Sega Genesis, only to find out that it had been discontinued for the Genesis and I had to buy a new gaming platform. But anyway,
oh my gosh.
But this is NHL 94, as featured in the film Swingers. And, listen, I was undefeated at this thing when I was in my mid-teens. So I'm excited to see if I'm still any good at it. I suspect I'm not. So 25 years later.
How's the graphics look? Do they match up? Are they on par with what it was?
It looks right. It looks right to me. I mean, the real question for me will be what the goal horn sounds like.
Oh, is it a very significant kind of sound?
It's burned into my brain. I'm not even going to try and mimic it, but it's got a very distinct sound. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that one step over the blue line, wind up and slap shot glitch goal still works, or if the real quick deke right in the crease goal glitch still works. So we'll see. It comes out tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it a lot. Now, we also had a chance to talk to the announcers in the game. I think one of the most impressive advancements in the game technology is that you can now watch one of these games, whether it's simulated or you're playing it, and you've got Ray Ferraro and James Cebulski calling the game. And I mean, we'll find out in a second when we show you the interview we taped with them. But a lot of man hours go into making this, as you yourself well know.
Lots of hours go into making this game, and you got to have the ability to bend and go with the ebb and the flow. And I can't think of two greater guys that can do just that. So they've got the gift of gab in the best way. And I think y'all are going to see that here in this interview. So a lot of improvisation goes into recording, like I mentioned, and these two guys are the best of the best at it. And so a little precursor and giving you some foreshadowing into the interview. Jesse, I know you and I were kind of talking about how crazy it is that we are talking about a game that we can't see yet. So with that in mind, just think about the creativity of these two guys and how they're literally making things up off of something that's not in front of them. All we've got are bullet points, and then the rest of the magic is in the minds. So it's pretty cool, and it's great to hear their insight on the whole thing.